show again. I want a rematch. That wasn't fair. It's like, listen, bitch, don't hate the player, hate the game.
I also don't appreciate the lecture. You don't know me, so I know you're married. I know you're older than me, but you don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my situation. I don't think you're in a position to give me advice, especially as a woman.
I flew down there on 2 days' notice. I had my suit on. I was super cute, ready to go. And you f***ing shit on me, and it backfired, and you lost.
Let's get at it. Let's get at it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Nick Fuentes came back and kind of rehashed how the backstory between him and Candace, that meetup that we looked at earlier, how that came into fruition. So let's look at it. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
A little bit of a thing with Candace. How did that go?
Last year, we had a little bit of a beef. Everybody was expecting that we were going to collaborate. And she said, well, I can't do the collab because of YouTube. And people said, well, do it on Rumble. She said, well, I can't do it because I'm in this lawsuit. All this time has passed. We're in the middle of the war with Iran. And my show got 70,000 live viewers the night that happened. So my show's blowing up. It's huge. She texts me the day after. Hey, where are you based out of? I say, Chicago. She goes, well, would you come down to Nashville? I said, sure. I said, are we doing a collab? She goes, yeah, let's do a collab. I said, okay. I said, is it going to be friendly? I said, I know we've had some problems in the past. I said, are we going to talk about Iran and be friendly? She goes, LOL, I don't set people up. I said, okay. And the first thing she says to me is, you talk so much shit. She asked me about my background. I say, well, I got canceled for asking these questions, such and such. She goes, is that why you hate Jews? Did that make you hate all Jews? I said, no, I don't hate all Jews. I don't hate anybody. It turns into this 2-hour struggle session where it's like, why do you hate Dave Smith? Why are you racist? Why are you this? Then she takes the interview at the end of it and she goes, I'm going to put it behind a paywall for $2 and I'll release it for free later. I'm like, well, why do that? And I tell her, I said, look, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like how that went. I said, this was a missed opportunity. And so she gets real nasty with me and it got very ugly.
And sometimes when I see the things that you say, I do think, okay, he doesn't take into account family. It's just Nick. Nick is in his own world, which can be, I think, a quite selfish perspective, which is fine. That's what you're saying. You like being selfish is another way to say what you just said. I like being selfish and I don't want to give of myself to somebody else.
I also think there's something selfless involved, which is to say, I could go and start a family and drag them into a world of mine, which is pretty chaotic. I mean, is this really the kind of a lifestyle? If I'm banned on everything and I can't make a living, I'm banned from banking, I'm banned from credit card processing, I'm getting doxxed, people are showing up to my house trying to kill me, things like that. I also don't appreciate the lecture. You don't know me.
After watching this over again, I'm kind of wondering, why did Candace not step in and say, hey, you're not able to earn a living the way that you believe you should. Let me offer you an opportunity, whether that be on her network, some way for him to be employed. I mean, he has a show. I'm wondering about this whole banking thing and being able to earn an income. I'm just wondering, would she have been willing to do that if she wants to stand by and support Nick Fuentes? Because a lot of people in the chat seem to believe Nick was the bigger person, came out of here the best condition. I just wonder, would she have been willing to do that and say, hey, you know what? I totally get it. How about you work for me? Or how about I offer you this opportunity so that you can be platformed and you can be banked, whatever like that. I just wonder, would she have been willing to do that?
So I know you're married. I know you're older than me, but you don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my situation. I don't think you're in a position to give me advice, especially as a woman, honestly. I don't think women, this is something in the right wing. We say we're anti-feminist, and then women go around telling men what to do who are not their husbands. And, I don't really buy into that ideologically, but that's besides the point. My life has been tumultuous from the very beginning. From the time I turned 18, people were coming for my neck and trying to get me, and I was kicked out of college. And then, once you're branded as an anti-Semite, before it became cool or popular, can't get a job, can't make a living, get banned from PayPal, all this kind of stuff. That's a very difficult environment to try to have a dating life. What do? I go out on Tinder, I go to a bar, and I say, hey, I'm a neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes that the ADL is writing articles about every day. I'm going to start a dating profile on Tinder. People are going to screenshot that, mess with me in all kinds of ways. It's a very difficult predicament, actually, for me, because I took on basically a huge sacrifice at the beginning. And I don't know that you really appreciate that.
enough. I think that you're somebody who, you had a career in politics for as long as I was fighting a battle. You were at Daily Wire with a contract. You're at Turning Point.
Her body language right here, a lot of people pointed it out. Her body language does not look pleased. She is not happy. Her facial expression is not happiness, sunshine, and rainbows. Let's just be honest. And, listen to Nick again, I totally get what he's saying. And I mean, his critique of Candace seems to be right down the middle, and he's calling it. So let's see how it ends. Let's go.
You're making good money. You're doing book deals. You're part of this thing that I'm criticizing and paying a very heavy price for at a time when no one's saying those things, when it's very unpopular. And it's not to say that I'm a victim, because I did it willingly and I love it and I would do it again. But it is to say that, you and I have lived very different lives. It's easy, I think, for you to say you had your husband, have your kids, you got your ducks in a row, made quite a bit of money, then you discovered the truth, and then you went out on a limb. And it's not to say you didn't make sacrifices and it wasn't a risk, and it paid off. You're doing great now, and I congratulate you. But with me, there was no calculation. I mean, I almost want to say I was 17. What's your excuse? I was 17 and I woke up and I went balls to the wall, bucket of ice cold water, as you say. I made a lot of enemies, and maybe that wasn't wise, but I told the truth and I took on extremely heavy cost for my personal life. It basically has made it so that I can't have a personal life. I don't even have many friends. It's a little more complicated, I think, than maybe you understand.
She's really upset about this. She said, and because Nick keeps making, more content about her and Tucker Carlson. She says, I'm honestly in awe at how much Nick Fuentes has publicly lied about me since he left my house. But rather than cry about it, as he most definitely would, I have instead invited him back for an actual debate where he can bring his alleged receipts to avoid his inevitable victim act. I've asked Dan Blazarian to moderate the discussion, who, by the way, is also an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, to moderate the discussion so Nick can put on his favored "I was attacked because I'm just so real and they are going to kill me" skit. Too many theater boys in politics. So she thinks that, it didn't work when Tucker Carlson called him a gay kid in his mom's basement. Obviously, we covered how Nick Fuentes was able to kind of spin that in his own favor and come out on top of that exchange too.
And Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago.
Tucker Carlson said I'm a weird gay kid in the basement. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago. You're right. But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them. He says Nick Fuentes is leading all of the disaffected young white men. I am a disaffected young white man. And now they want to gatekeep me out and do this personality attack and say I'm a bitter loser in my basement from Chicago.
Apparently Candace Owens just thinks that, maybe it'll work if I do it. Maybe if I call him a theater kid or whatever, his fans will turn on him. Obviously, that's not going to happen, as was revealed by the response to this post. I'm going to show you the ratio in a second, but she says this will be fun because I think it will reveal to the public we should not fear discussion if we're telling the truth. Looking forward to this, Nick Fuentes. So imagine experiencing that, what we just watched, that just humiliation, and then all this racist dogpiling from his fans and even some of yours that are turning on you.
And I told Candace, I'm like, legit, don't hate the player, hate the game. You thought you were going to outfox me and you lost. She had this little plan. I'm going to bring him on the show, put it behind a paywall, ambush him. And I just flipped over the table, and she's like, you can't do that. You're winning. You're a liar. Do a show again. I want a rematch. That wasn't fair. It's like, listen, bitch, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's always the loser that's calling for the rematch. Stupid bitch, you got your chance. I flew down there on 2 days' notice. I had my suit on. I was super cute, ready to go. And you fucking shit on me, and it backfired, and you lost. And then you ran to Tucker and cried about it. You thought you were bringing in the cavalry, and I shit on him just for the pleasure of it, and you fucking lost again. Now she's demanding a rematch because she lost? Because she's a stupid loser? You need to come and debate me on my show again. Oh, why? You can ambush me again? You can take another swing? Yeah, fat chance, you dummy. Yeah, you played the game and you lost, stupid. Here's a shovel. You want to keep digging? You want to keep playing with me? Choose wisely. I'll do another show on Friday. You want a part 3? Choose wisely. Here's a shovel. Keep digging. But that's exactly, she brings me out. And this bitch, she goes, I don't set people up. Oh, do we have that clip? Oh, yeah. This is why you hate Jews? She thinks she's going to hide it behind a paywall, deny me the exposure, but do the hit piece. Then all else has failed. Oh, Tucker will surely save me now. He gets knocked off his horse. Some serious Lisan al-Gaib shit. And now she's bitching to me about a rematch. Anyone who will listen. She'd have Dan Bilzerian like a freak, crying to everybody. He's a liar. He cheated. Think you had a little dirt in your eye. You lost. Homie don't play that. Homie does not play. You came to play. Homie doesn't play.
Candace, look, I made him raise his voice at me. Therefore, I made him rage, Owens. He put it all behind a paywall because she only wanted people who were loyal enough to give her money to see it. They already agree with her blindly. Real scummy move. I mean, no lie detected. I had no clue who Fuentes was before Candace Tucker interviewed. Whatever they were trying to do backfired royally. Candace didn't know herself until she married a multimillionaire, had his children, and really realized she'll never have to worry about money again. I mean, that can make you change who you are for sure.
I said, are we?
Aye. Sorry about that, John. I had no idea who Fuentes was before Candace Tucker interviewed. Candace did not know herself until she married a multimillionaire. Sorry about that. There is an emotion where something is equal parts hilarious and heartbreaking. I don't know the word for it, but that's what I feel when I see Candace try to woke scold Nick. Wow. All right, grace and peace, everybody. Let's get into the comment section and let's talk about it. Tell me what you think about this whole conversation. Did you know about the background of how Nick Fuentes actually ended up on Candace's platform? Let me know what you think down below. I appreciate it. Until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.